I know we're going to take the throne from Doge because Pudgy is actually a real meme.
What did you see that others did not?
Well, I don't buy the project if it's not for GCR's involvement. So GCR plays an imperative role in the lore of Pudgy. Yeah, I think there will be an NFT season again when everyone gets rich. I'm a gladiator, and my goal as a gladiator on behalf of Pudgy Penguins is to win. You know we're going to do amazing things bigger than Walmart. You know I'm going to put this on a movie screen. You know I'm going to put this in a TV show. You know I'm going to have a blockbuster game. I'm in the business of making our holders and our community insanely rich. I think an IPO vehicle is a great way to do that. But again, we have to earn that, and I'm far from that. I think the earliest I could do it would be...
Welcome to the Verify podcast by Bitcoin Suisse, your backstage pass to the world of crypto. We host some of the biggest names in digital assets to cover the latest trends and share insights not only for your entertainment, but for the love of the industry. None of the discussed is financial advice, of course. It's all for informational and entertainment purposes only. So sit back, relax, and let's dive in.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Verified. We've been really looking forward to this episode. Both Luca, my co-host, and me are big fans of the Pudgy brand. We do also have skin in the game, as you say. And therefore, we are very thrilled today to sit down with Luca Netz, who's the force behind Pudgy Penguins. He basically flipped in 22 a struggling NFT project into a global billion-dollar brand empire and made it the crypto's biggest breakout consumer brand in our view. Today, we go deep on why culture might be crypto's killer app, mimetic power, and where crypto, culture, and social currencies collide. Very important nowadays. Co-hosting today, important side fact, is also Luca's namesake, Luca, my research wingman, because we thought, why have one Luca when you can have two? So welcome both Lucas to the show.
Thanks,
Luca,
man.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Luca.
You've got a great name. Your mom has good taste.
Yeah, she really loves me.
I guess likewise then. All right, we're starting with the first topic. So as I spoiled already, you acquired Igloo at the bottom in 22, turned it into a huge ecosystem. I checked some metrics. The flagship collection is basically trading at around 600 million. The Pengu token, the according meme token to the ecosystem, is above 2 billion. Igloo, the company behind Pudgy Penguins brand, is projected to end the year with 50 million in revenue. And at the same time, you kind of bought this venture for 2.5 million, as we checked. You also turned this brand into a major mainstream success. Toys in 10,000 stores. You sold almost 2 million toys, 2 million Instagram followers, and also a very impressive metric, 100 billion in GIF views. This is very impressive. And maybe a funny anecdote. My girlfriend loves Pudgies. She keeps sending me the GIFs on Instagram. And she didn't even know that they emerged from an NFT brand. So, Luca, first question. What did you see that others did not?
I was a big collector of Pudgy Penguins before I bought it. And the instinct and the thought process when I was a collector and a buyer of it was, this is the most universal character in crypto. The people buying it, like GCR and Brian Pellegrino, are some of the most affluent and advanced traders and entrepreneurs in crypto. And if I close my eyes and I just think about that Pudgy silhouette and that Pudgy Penguin character, and I think to myself, Pudgy Penguins, I saw a multi-billion-dollar brand, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Pudgy Penguins, Paw Patrol. You know, no matter how many ways I spun it, I saw it on shelves, I saw it on movies, I saw it on games, and I saw it on TV. And it was just an instinct, one that maybe had a little bit of divine intervention, but it was definitely instinctual, me and these penguins. And I love penguins. Everyone loves penguins. But who owns the penguin character in the real world today? Nobody. And it's a huge opportunity because we've seen penguins break through in a real big way. March of the Penguin, highest grossing documentary of all time. You know, Happy Feet, you know, Penguins of Madagascar, Club Penguin, first ever true metaverse that we've ever seen, right? So penguins have that affinity, they have that lore, they have that mimetic and cultural impact just nobody built out the Penguin the way that I thought it should have been built out. So here we are a couple years later, and it's been a pretty wild journey to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, now it's all really successful, but I mean, the journey here was not always easy for everyone who has been a part of the journey. Maybe a fun thing that I just thought of when I was a little kid, there was this TV show called Pengu. It's basically penguin in Swiss German, and he was actually a Swiss guy came up with this, and he was like really famous when we were little kids. So everyone in Switzerland really loves this Pengu. I totally see your point that everyone loves Pengus. So what I feel is really something unique for the Pudgy Penguins is that you have this crypto community, but then at the same time you have this huge mainstream community where people just love the penguin, but they do not necessarily think about crypto when they see the penguins. So my question is, how do you use this as your advantage? Is your goal to basically onboard this whole non-crypto community, or do you want to build a brand that basically thrives independently of this whole crypto stuff?
It's dual faceted, and so I kind of like to go with the wins in my sales. So on one side of the spectrum, when I market to Web 2 users, I'm actually also marketing to Web 3 users. I'm just doing it indirectly, right? So this idea that if you're in crypto, Luca and Dominic, and your girlfriend sends you a Pudgy Penguin reel, that's a touch point, and you're thinking to yourself, damn, I'm holding some Shiba Inu. I don't want to hold this. My girlfriend's not sending me Instagram reels of Shiba Inu. I'm going to go sell it and go buy Pudgy Penguins. Or I have this NFT that I've been holding for years, but they haven't been doing anything, so I'm going to sell it and go buy a Pudgy Penguin, right? So like marketing the Web 2 is marketing the Web 3. It's just indirect marketing. And I think for us, there's going to be a moment in which we speak and educate and tell our audience all about the Web 3 story that is Pudgy Penguins. But it's going to be a process. It's going to be at the height of when everyone is talking about crypto, when it's less taboo and less intimidating. And today, if they fall in love with the brand and go down the rabbit hole, it's very easy to find, and know that Pudgy Penguins has crypto origins. So we're not hiding it from anybody. We're just not forcing it on people. Everyone wants to force things on people. I think it's a huge mistake, right? Let them come to you, and then they will come for the right reasons, rather than forcing them in for the wrong reasons and then creating some sort of resentment and negative feedback loop. I'm all about getting people in for the right reasons and treating conversion like a process and not an action. And so that's kind of how we go about, our Web 2 audience and how I think they cross-pollinate into the Web 3 side.
Yeah, maybe sneak in the little Pengu in the GIFs that you just recently implemented, right?
Yeah, great view, Luca. It's a good point that you made. At least in my view, probably you share that a meme coin without leadership, let's say, will never be as strong as a meme coin in company of a strong brand, or in company of a strong brand plus NFT collection. And maybe we dive a little bit into the magic of NFTs, NFT markets, because outside of Pudgy's, they had a couple months where they did really, really well based on a variety of catalysts. But a lot of NFTs after the 21-22 cycle peak really met gravity, as you know. We went through deep correction territory. They are now back at NFTs, the overall market, at a roughly 8 billion market cap. We had a strong bounce in April from these tariff shenanigans from Donald Trump. The volume is still low, but we feel the sentiment is really improving. And then we also have some other catalysts. For instance, there are these treasury companies like acquiring Pudgy Penguins, kind of an NFT treasury strategy, which is popping up. So basically the question is, do you see there's a credible NFT season lining up with the potential cycle peak or the broader cycle peak? And also what is interesting to me for Pudgy specifically, are you building different products with that timing in mind, or are you trying to stay agnostic to different cycle dynamics?
Yeah, I think there will be an NFT season again when everyone gets rich. I think a lot of people haven't gotten rich as much as we think because a lot of retail is in alts, and really it's been the majors that have been breaking out, and most traders that are here every day are not trading alts. But I do think you will see an NFT season. I think it will look differently. So the NFT season that I think you'll see is one that I think factors in power law. So I think you'll see that a couple do extremely well. I think even better than the couple that we saw in 2021 do extremely well. I don't think you'll see $500 cartoons minting and then them flipping for 2 weeks, at $15,000 plus. And there's no reason for that. Like nobody had earned that type of momentum. So I don't think you'll see any of that. I think you will ultimately come to a new paradigm within the NFT space, which is I think NFTs should be incubators of protocols. And so I think you're going to see some really amazing net new case studies like that. And so I do believe that there will be an NFT season. I think it'll look a little different. I think it'll be higher concentrated into the ones who deserve it and have been working and have earned and built the community over the last couple of years. And in terms of products that we're building, I have I'm a very big champion of this idea of the arena. And so I've told the community this. I'm a gladiator, and my goal as a gladiator on behalf of Pudgy Penguins is to win and to be the best champion possible. But the arena in which I fight changes depending on market conditions. The bear market arena and the bear market playbook and the products that I ship are a lot more different than the bull market arena and the bull market products that I ship. And those are respective to individual markets, right? NFT bull markets, meme coin bull markets, etc. So I'm very much changing my armor and my battle gear depending on the environment around me.
Okay, I think I fully share this view. Maybe something that is important that was just sticking out very substantially to me is I feel like there, especially within the NFT field, there's a lot of cool brands. There was a lot of potential, but if we are real, I think why Pudgy is such a successful brand is also because many people rally behind sound leadership and basically sound business acumen. And I feel like obviously all of these metrics prove that you are right in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, the elephant in the room for me is I traded a lot before Pudgy, and I did this analysis. There's a really big discrepancy in companies' market caps and P/E ratios who have founders that are public figures with communities and that are vocal. And it was just very clear to me that when we bought Pudgy, that was going to be a huge reason for why we were going to win. And a big thing when I was looking at the landscape of trying to be competitive to everyone else, dude, nobody in the NFT space was leading from a founder perspective. And everyone, I remember doing this analysis when I came into Pudgy. I was like, how do we beat everybody else when they all have $100, $200, $500 million more than us? And the answer that I came to was, I got to do all the things that I got to fix all the problems that people hate. People, so what I mean by that is all the community members were like, NFT founders lack transparency. They're not working hard enough. So I consolidated all those objections and I addressed them each head on. And I made sure, even today, when you look at the Pudgy Penguin ecosystem, there's literally no objection that you can make. Truly, there's nothing, because I look at it through the lens of you guys, a holder, a speculator, a trader. I look at it and I think to myself, what is, what's going to be that thing that's going to screw this whole thing up, right? And or what am I doing wrong? And I address it and I nip it in the bud pretty quickly. But that was a really good analysis that I did early on, and I'm really thankful for that because I don't think we'd be here today without it.
Nice. You mentioned GCR in the beginning, that you saw him talking about the Pudgys really early on. And I mean, you, of course, remember the tweet in August 2021, basically 1 month after the NFTs launched. And he was talking about NFT governance tokens. He was talking about Doge, how Dogecoin was basically the king of the past decade. And then he was talking about Pengu and how he thinks that Pengu could be a basically contender for this decade. That was in August 2021. Now last year, a little bit more than half a year ago, you launched Pengu, I call it for now the meme token. Now my question is, how did his early vision, this post on X, shape your vision or thinking behind launching Pengu?
Well, I don't buy the project if it's not for GCR's involvement. So GCR plays an imperative role in the lore of Pudgy. I think that post was really meaningful for me to kind of go back to 8 months ago, because it just kind of depicts, I think, the biggest problem in that thread, which is at a certain point, Pudgy, the brand for everyone, the mascot of crypto, if it's just an NFT, isn't for everyone. It just becomes a thing for the rich people, right? And the few 20, 30,000 big ETH holders who can afford a $100,000 NFT. And I've been very clear on this messaging since day one. Pudgy is the face of crypto. It's the mascot of crypto. Its intent and function is to be that. And what is the mascot of crypto that only a few select group of people who can afford 100,000 NFT can participate in? It's not the story, right? And it even goes down to like the airdrop magnitude. Like one of the most beautiful things about Pengu is a 53% airdrop to the people. Unheard of. 6 million eligible wallets. Unheard of. You've spent more time farming a chain for a year, getting less money than what you got on Pengu if you weren't even a holder of the ecosystem. It was the most generous moment in crypto, I think probably of all time, because of the distribution, because everyone got a piece. Everyone got a piece of the people's coin. Everyone got a piece of the face of crypto. Everyone got a piece of the mascot of crypto. Nobody was left out. And when the market was hot and when it warranted it, Pudgy took care of everyone. They didn't just take care of their holders. They took care of you. They took care of your friends. They took care of your family members. And that's what it means to be the underdog and to win, right? When you're the underdog and you win, you don't just win for yourself, right? As if you're the leader in the race. You win for everybody who was betting on you and everybody that was supporting you and buying the toys and buying the products. And, you know, that was important because if we really want, we kind of hit a ceiling. I was like, okay, I'm not minting any new NFTs, right? So I actually have a theory on like dilution. I think dilution is dilutive if you're issuing more of the same on that ecosystem. So like, meaning I issue more Ethereum NFTs, it's cooked. That's how all these guys cook themselves, right? I'm issuing net new tokens on Solana, like that's not dilutive, that's additive, man. That just piles everything in. And so I think there's a way to do it. And I think we cracked the code. I mean, I think we've cracked a lot of codes. That was one of the codes, and I'm so thankful for my conviction for doing Pengu. I think this whole ecosystem would be so different if we didn't do it. I'm so thankful we did it. It was so the right decision. No one can convince me otherwise, because I felt like we were getting a little boring too. It felt like it was just like I was talking to the same 50,000 people on NFTs, and like 3/4 of them are brainwashed on their own bags and will never come over anyway, right? And I just and now it's like, dude, I can compete with Doge, and it's like, yes, the ceiling is so much bigger, and the NFTs benefit from it. I mean, you'll see this all the time. Pengu continues to make new highs, the NFTs will make new highs with it, and it'll drag the whole NFT space up with it. Like, don't underestimate how much Pudgy has saved the NFT space these last couple of years. All of the pumps that have come in the last couple of years have been because Pudgy pumped first and dragged everything else up with it. And now that we have the token, I think it's going to kick that power law that I talked about a second ago. It's going to make that so much more meaningful, because I know Pengu will succeed, right? I know Pengu will see its success the way that I think it will. And that's going to bring on NFT season, because then every other collection is going to try to do their own version of Pengu. And whether they pull it off or not, the likelihood is probably zero, right? Because I think the way we pulled it off is bar none. I think the character and the years of work make Pengu Pengu. It's still going to allow people to speculate and give a lot of bag holders exit liquidity to go and rotate into the next thing and the next thing. So I think this is Pudgy's cycle. This is Penguin cycle. I think if anybody thinks otherwise, I don't know what rock you've been living under, if I'm being frank. But you know, we will do our best to bring as much liquidity and momentum to NFTs as possible. That's definitely where we come from. But Pengu was such a great decision. I'm thankful for it.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak from my own experience. I was a Pudgy holder before, but then the Pengu airdrop, I mean, I did not have it on my radar at all. It just kind of happened out of nowhere, and ever since then, I'm way more into the whole community and a lot more invested and following every single step you guys take. So yeah, I totally agree. And I guess the launch of Pengu probably also had some reasoning behind with Trump getting elected in the US. The moment was right to launch this token. Now, over the last half year since Trump is in office, we've seen overall in the crypto space a lot of new, let's say, ideas or old ideas that get revived in regard to token utility, value accrual. Everyone's like flirting with buybacks and stuff like that. Not only L1s or other tokens, but also some meme coin projects are actually talking about this. And meme coins, I mean, they started as a joke, but now are top 20 crypto category worth more than 70 billion. Where does the meme coin space go from here? You know, where does Pengu fit in the whole meme coin space?
I don't think the days of like the Doges and the Pepes are necessarily over. But I would say that they will not be the winners. And so what I mean by that, and this is the example that we want to set at Pengu, you have this idea of these culture tokens, right? That basically wrap up a meme or an image or a movement, tokenize it, and you know, and then whether it's Doge or Shiba or Pepe, can yield these huge valuations and a ton of success for the early believers. Mm-hmm. And you will always see that. You can't stop that. But the opportunity isn't in that, I don't believe. And the reason being is because I naturally don't think that you can beat a sentient, progressive, adaptive force of nature that is the Pudgy Penguin team, for example, or some of these other teams that will come out, in terms of its relevance and tension and mind share, which ultimately, to really hit escape velocity, that's what these assets become. They become a proxy of how much attention and mind share they can yield. And so my argument to you is, right, the Pengu versus Doge case, which, by the way, we love Doge, right? Doge community is epic, pioneered and paved the way. But ask yourself something truthfully. In a world where Doge inflates $5 million a day, it does, right? In a world where Doge's peak mimetic relevancy was 8 years ago, and its peak financial relevancy was 4 years ago, how can you beat something that's losing mind share and attention day over day and increasing in supply day over day versus a machine like Pudgy Penguins that is increasing mind share day over day with huge explosive pops, with huge partnerships when those moments come, meaning if I do a movie or a TV show or Super Bowl or whatever, right, those are huge explosive pops that Doge frankly won't have. And then I can also make it deflationary. Which recipe is going to win over time? One that's inflationary and losing mind share versus one that's deflationary and compounding mind share, right? Ultimately, all tokens and stocks and all these things are supply and demand, right? So it becomes a function of how many tokens are out there for people to sell and how many of them are people buying. And then the cool part about what we're doing is not only Is it, can we be deflationary in the supply in terms of buys and burns and things and clever things that we can do, and inflationary in terms of the mind share that we create? When I do a movie or a TV show, what do I also do? I also create conviction with existing holders. So I also tighten up supply even more, because holders would then think to themselves, dude, how are they not going to flip Doge? I have a minimum price in which I'm going to sell my tokens, and it's not at today's price, right? So it even creates that much more of a vehicle for supply crunch, which ultimately, at the end of the day, it just becomes a game of supply and demand. And that's why I'm so convicted that over the course of the time, I can't tell you when, but I know we're going to take the throne from Doge, because Pudgy is actually a real meme. It's one of the only, I think, real memes in crypto, because GIFs are memes. Pudgy Penguins gets 1 billion views on GIFs every single day across all the different GIF platforms. It is the only thing that's communicated emotionally through people on the internet that's a meme in crypto today that's relevant and actually escalating in its mimetic velocity, right? We're going to do amazing things bigger than Walmart. I'm going to put this on a movie screen. I'm going to put this as a TV show. I'm going to have a blockbuster game. I'm going to have partnerships with the biggest and best companies in the world, right? I'm not going to go and extract and be dilutive. Already could have done that. 3.5 years of not doing that. My intentions are pure. My integrity's there. So there's no risk in that variable. And the community's Chad, and the Penguin is honestly the most well-positioned IP to actually perform this function. Why? Because it's the most universal. It's not agnostic to it. It's not marginalized to a certain group, right? Women love it. Men love it. Europe loves it. Asia loves it. America loves it. 5-year-olds love it. 70-year-olds love it. Everyone loves it. It's cute. Cute has the highest TAM of any IP, right? It is the cute penguin, right? People love penguins. Penguins waddle, they huddle, they keep warm, they fight blizzards, they swim, they fish. It's the perfect, it has all the ingredients. It has me who can champion as good, if not better, than any founder. It's got elite depth of team, almost 100 people of just the best talent in the world proliferating this penguin. We're a social media marketing guru, best in class that you can ever find in the world unit lives here. That's where the world's going, right? So no matter how many ways you skin this cat and see it, it's like, it's going to have its time, man. And it's going to be magical, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be something that's going to be super, super epic. And it's already super epic. And, one more point, we can file for the ETFs. We can ring the bell on the NASDAQ. We can get everyone to wear the profile pictures. Again, the NFT holders already have billionaires wearing the profile picture because they own the NFTs. It's just every piece of the pie, man. No matter where you go, you look. Sometimes I'm even in awe, God bless, because the whole pie is there. It's too well constructed, I think, for anybody, I think, to really kill it at this point. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I really deem it that way, and I'm going to do the best of my ability to help be the custodian of that prophecy.
So that was a good pitch, I have to say. My takeaway is you really know how to turn one bullish on the Pudgy ecosystem, to be honest. And maybe one striking difference to these major meme coins is also like what we mentioned earlier, that there's no igloo, for instance, who is increasing mind share. And then I would also agree on the point that memes are here to stay, especially if you think about the casino culture that our current society is diving into, as the real workforce is increasingly concerned with AI losing their jobs. You cannot really make a proper living based on the current salaries for many people. So long story short, I would like to dive a little bit into the institutional angle. We know it's kind of an institutional cycle that we see happening, mostly steered by Bitcoin, now also ETH picking up. And you and the Pudgy ecosystem also heavily leans into it. And one would think this is like super opposing memes and institutions, especially we know there this buttoned up industry. Yet some of the biggest and serious shops now, including Bitmine, Tom Lee, really cool. I love to see it. Bitwise, Vanek, and also, by the way, I don't know if you know, but Bitcoin Suisse, we will also soon rock a Pudgy NFT as our PFP, which is I'm really excited about that. Also, kudos to Luca, to be honest. On the second hand, there's the structural piece. You named it with the ETF, which is filed. We're still waiting for that. And then the third angle I wanted to touch is basically on the corporate horizon. I was wondering, no worries if you cannot disclose anything. The parent company Igloo did very, very well. It proved that it can execute like a consumer brand. At the same time, you build Web3 native stuff such as Abstract. I feel like the classic path at some point would also be an IPO, maybe, especially in a time where I feel, and I desperately seek that moment where tokens blend a little bit more into equity, or kind of what you have with equity. So basically the questions are, how did you make memes fit into institutional pockets? How did you do that? And then maybe give us some insights on the potential IPO, or is there something cooking?
Yeah, I think from, the Pudgy Penguin Pengu side, it is an attention behemoth. Meaning, if you're an institution, you're going to get more impressions, more views, more engagement by wearing and using the Pudgy Penguin, which ultimately drives more volume for your services. Specifically, if you're interested in targeting the next generation, that is Gen Z and Gen Alpha, right? So my pitch to all the big institutions is include Pudgy Penguins in whatever you're doing, and we're going to get you 10 times more views and impressions than you would without us, and we're going to get you to look cool and hip and culturally relevant in the eyes of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, which is really hard to do. And so I also think there's a lot of trust and integrity in this. They know when they endorse us, I'm not going to go and leverage that to go mint $300 million and go take and extract. People know my intentions here, and that's to win and to be on the Mount Rushmore and to build something great. I'm not here to make a quick 100, 200 million bucks, which I could have already done already. And I also think TradFi understands, specifically the crypto TradFi understands what we're doing for crypto, right? Pudgy Penguins winning for crypto is really important because crypto is more than something for the guy on the street or for the trader, in the skyscraper, right? It's for women, it's for the family, it's for the kids. The kids are going to grow up to be crypto native. And nobody else is targeting and building this market segment like us. And I think they also understand, just from a traditional finance lens, like they understand products on Walmart and Target. They understand movies. They understand TV shows. They understand games. It's not like, why is that thing worth billions? It's like, yes, I get it. I get this character. It's the only thing bringing the family together in crypto. Nothing in crypto is bringing the family together, right? And if crypto is going to win, it has to bring the family together. It has to bring women in. And if you go to a Pudgy Penguin event and you see people bring their kids, it's probably more girls at these events than there are guys. Like, it's the only thing like it. And they know that this thing needs to win for us to really break through into mass. And they want to support it, and they want to galvanize around it. And so no matter how many ways you skin this cat, if you're a billionaire, an affluent crypto founder, a fund, a TradFi investor, aligning yourself with Pudgy signals to everyone that you are supportive of the future of culture on chain. You're supportive of the future of families on chain and crypto bringing the family together and the family participating. You're supporting inclusivity and making sure that this is for everyone and not just the street bros or the trading bros. You're also realizing, and it's benefiting you in the sense that, like, you're also making your products, right, and your services or your companies or your protocols more appealing to Gen Z and Gen Alpha users, which are the true crypto native users, right? And so they're also benefiting from it. So it's not just a one-sided relationship. And then we're engaging and we're rallying and we're getting their views up and their comments and their likes up, and that's just getting them more inflows and more exposure to the offerings that they have, no matter what those offerings may be. You also brought up another thing, which was like the ETF. You know, ETF was amazing. The big breakthrough for the ETF was the CBOE picking up the ETF. So the CBOE picking up the ETF was the breakthrough, because the only other coin that has a CBOE listing, or the coins that have a CBOE, like that the CBOE has picked up their ETF, are $5 billion plus. There's nothing under $5 billion outside of Pengu that the CBOE's picked up, right? And the CBOE picking up is a lot different than filing, right? It means you're going through the next step of the process, which is a huge signal. And then you asked another question, but I forgot. It was the last one. I forgot that one.
The IPO one.
And then the IPO. Yeah. I think it's a dream of mine, right? Like, I'm in the business of making our holders in our community insanely rich to the best of my ability, right? Like, that's my dream. That's what I aspire to do. I aspire to return value to the people who believe in me and believe in this penguin. I think an IPO vehicle is a great way to do that. And there's a way that I've conjured up that I think can benefit Pengu holders and NFT holders tremendously. I think we just have to have the right revenue milestones to hit it. Like, if I IPO, you can only IPO once. And I've got to make sure I have a real company that I'm IPOing and not just like telling some sort of story, because, you know, traditional finance is a whole different ball game. A lot of similarities to crypto, but a lot of differences. And so for us, it's really about revenue. But if we can hit the revenue milestones that we need to hit, I'm very, very confident in our ability to, you know, creating in terms of reciprocating the value from that IPO event to the rest of the community. But again, we have to earn that, and I'm far from that. I think the earliest I could do it would be 2027, first quarter of 2027. In a perfect world, I'd love to do it in quarter 4. So I've kind of got my eyes tentatively set on like quarter 4, 2027, as like a big moment. But I would love to do it with this administration too. If I had a different administration, I don't know if I'd want to do it, but I want to get it out there during Trump's presidency, and so quarter 4 of 2027 would be my hope.
Maybe a brief follow-up here, Luca. What would be the path to make Igloo IPO worthy? What are you targeting? Do you have anything specific in mind?
Like revenue metrics. I have to be doing hundreds of millions of dollars a year in revenue, I think.
Yes, but how?
There are tons of ways. The licensing. Right now, Web 2 licensing and Web 3 licensing alone, I think, can make this business $200 million a year in the next 18 months.
Okay.
I think you know Rect Brands. So they basically also have a consumer product, their Rect drink. Then they have the NFT and also the token. And they basically found a solution on giving NFT holders a share in the drinks company. So NFT holders directly benefit from them selling their drinks. They also airdrop tokens to everyone who buys the drinks. So this Rect Brands reminded me of Igloo. I think there's some possibilities that you could also give some kind of equity benefits to NFT holders without an IPO. I don't know if you're close to these guys or if you have thought about anything like that.
Yeah, my issue. So, huge fan of OSF and Mando. You know, been huge fan to them for a long time. My issue with giving equity out to NFT holders is it's not transferable, right? So you give it once, and I think it just creates a layer. Like, everything I've done is give back to the NFT holders. I think where I win is through the equity that we're accruing at the company. I think, like, I don't see, unless I IPO'd, and I did that before an IPO, then I see that working. I just don't see a necessity to rush that puck today. It creates a lot of, I think, barriers for potential fundraises, for, you know, different things that I think we could do. I don't even know if that's legally compliant if I wanted to IPO. And I think I brought this to the table one time, like, I just don't think there'd be any meaningful, if I can't IPO, if I can IPO it, then I totally see the thing, right? And I totally see the semantics. But if I can't IPO it, it's really just like a symbolistic thing, right? it's not really like a thing that converts into anything, and then I actually think makes the asset less speculative and puts it more into a box that people price it, right? So the problem is like, you don't want to put these assets in a box. You don't want to put the NFTs in a box. You want to put the tokens in a box, right? Unfortunately, there's too many freaking schmucks in crypto who will see me do that and be like, well, they're doing 50 million a year, so the PDE ratio is 400 million, and then like the NFT should be worth 80 based on the forecasted projected earnings of the equity that you get from the NFT, and like they just make it so much less about what it should be, right? Which is like this cultural symbol and icon, and they're now trading it like a proxy to equity, which removes a lot of the magic, right? So you take this magical asset that's supposed to be your identity, that's supposed to be fluid, that's supposed to be ceilingless, like goes to $1 million floor. But if you anchor equity to it, right, or revenue streams to it, right, it becomes this thing that has like a P to E ratio that can't go above a certain multiple. And so in a world where, before the IPO, if I can do that for holders and I know it's legally compliant, I can drop everybody some free IPO shares. In a perfect world, I would do it. No questions. I think I'm so far from that. Like 2027 is 2.5 years from now. Quarter 4 2027 is 2.5 years from now. I just have to focus on making this equity in this company valuable to get to that moment. And if legal compliance allows that, then I do it. At a minimum, I get everybody in at the IPO price, right? Which, in a good market is an easy 2, 3, 4x for anybody in. Which is always great. Like I know I can do that, right? Which is again bringing huge value to them. Airdropping shares if it makes sense and it works that way. Why not? I mean, I would love to be in the history books for one of the first people to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I wanna get into some other angle, which is the whole gaming space, Web3 gaming. It has been kind of quiet, I would say, in the mainstream. There's a lot of stuff happening under the hood, and I know that you are about to launch Pudgy Party on August 29th together with Mythical Games, which is kind of interesting because we are actually a validator for Mythical. And I just want to hear your thoughts regarding Pudgy Party. Why is it special? Hype us up a little bit about the game. I know it's a AAA 10 million budget game together with Mythical Games, one of the biggest development gaming companies in crypto.
So Mythical, I think, builds one of the best games in crypto, bar none. They're probably the best mobile game developer and one of the best mobile game developers in the world, just point blank, period. I think for us, we are going to build a game here that I think is going to be one of crypto's best ever games. So anybody listening to this, you should be able to go to Pudgy Party on the App Store, pre-register or download and play it. I think you'll come to the same conclusion that I have, which is like, I've never played a crypto game that's felt this good. All the little skins or little NFTs, you can trade them, you can sell them. It really is an experience bar none. And I think for us, Pudgy Penguins has to become a franchise. We need a breakthrough game, movie, or TV show. And we need something that can have hundreds of millions of people watching and participating in digitally. And I think Pudgy Party is going to be that product for us. So I'm really excited for it. Our goal is to be the best, most downloaded crypto game of all time. And I think we're going to hit it.
Awesome. I think I'm also quite excited for it, especially since I'm a big fan of Nintendo Switch and all the Nintendos. Unfortunately, time is running fast. I guess one of the takeaways is that I might consider buying more Pudgy assets, to be honest. And I would say on behalf of Bitcoin Suisse and our audience, huge thanks to you, Luca. It was a pleasure having you on the show. We did really enjoy it, and I bet our audience as well.
Yeah, thank you, Luca, for joining us. And I feel like we covered a lot of topics, but there's also so much stuff that we did not manage to cover. So maybe in the future we can do a second episode with you. It was really nice talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And Luca, great name.